EuroHooplife here, Bennett Davison. We're going to be interviewing Tanner Giddings, and we're going to talk specifically about Canada. Tanner, how's it going today?
It's going good.
Awesome. So, what was this team? Where were you located in Canada? What was the team name? What was kind of the situation? You spent a couple months there with the whole full season, 8 9 months.
Yep, I was over in Nova Scotia, so far northeast of Canada. I played in the small city of Cape Breton, probably like 24,000 people.
Okay.
And I played with the Cape Breton Highlanders.
Okay.
And, it was, we played in the NBL Canada, played against, top talent in some areas. I mean, played against Big Baby Davis. He was in that league for
Yeah.
for a little bit, which was pretty. It was a cool experience. You get to see some of the players in that league, and we had six Americans and six Canadians on the team, so it was a
Is
very
that pretty
professional.
typical? Half the team is Americans, half the team is locals.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
how many teams are in that league?
I think there was about 8 or 9.
8 or 9. So, and now are they over in like Vancouver over there? So we have to fly that far, or are they mostly all on the East Coast?
Mostly on the East Coast. Farthest we went was Ontario.
Ontario. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So once you got there, what could a player, if you were going to sit here and leave some breadcrumbs and some information, what would a player expect once they get off the plane? Where do you live? What was the living situation? How were the people? How were the fans? And like how were the facilities?
Well, I would say our team wasn't the typical NBL Canada team. I think we were in our second or third season, and I was, it was still kind of growing when I got there. And actually, after I left, the team went under, so it wasn't like the best situation over there. Um, but for getting off the plane and that type of thing, we flew into Halifax, which is about
Okay.
4 hours from Cape Breton. And then we just kind of stayed there overnight, waited for some of the other players to get into town, and then the owner and then our coach, we all drove back together to Cape Breton. And then the living situation was, we lived in like a travel lodge hotel for 6 7 months.
Okay.
Um, just we just kind of had, as far as gyms went, we would work out at the YMCA, go over to local high schools or just schools,
So you kind of
work.
bounced around the different locations, whatever was available for you guys.
Yeah, we didn't really have. I mean, we played in a hockey rink, so they had the local hockey
I
team.
did that in Poland. It was a little bit
Yeah,
cold. You just basically put a basketball court on top of the hockey rink. Yep.
exactly. Yep. And so I found myself wearing a lot of long sleeves during games and
Uh-huh.
practices like that. Um, but we bounced around from gym to gym, just kind of found what was available, um, and just worked from there.
So once that team was there, you said it sounds like you said the team kind of went under. There was only their second or third season in there. Obviously, you can't recommend the team because there's no longer a team there. But let's just talk about Canada as a whole. How was Canada basketball? Like you said, it was top level competition. You got some players that were veterans, and Big Baby Davis. Yeah, I mean, he's a veteran from the NBA. How would you say if you were to recommend Canada basketball for international basketball players or U.S. players?
I definitely think it's a great, a great experience. You get to play against high level players and kind of grow your game. Going into it after playing in Denmark for my first season, it was a big step up, so I kind of had to adjust to it a little bit. And
Uh-huh.
because over in Denmark, it's we have one American, and then the rest of them are Danish players who are 19 to 24 years old.
Okay.
So wide range. And then in Canada, it's from 23 was the youngest that I knew up until probably 40. So there's a wide
A
range of
wide range
veterans
of
in that.
players. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah. So
So let's wrap this up. I mean, what were the finances like? You obviously said that the team went under. Was there an issue with any payments or anything? Is there, um, and kind of like your final thoughts on just if you would recommend if someone was to reach out to you, how would you, what advice would you give them about Canada?
about Canada, I recommend it. I mean, about my situation, I wouldn't recommend it. Um, and finances were, it was my first time playing in Canada, so I was kind of getting my foot in the door.
Yeah.
But if you play well and you can easily move up and make more money. Um, And I mean, with our situation, because of the finances and stuff that were obviously
Uh-huh.
they went under, it wasn't great during the season. Um, there were experiences where we weren't getting, we were supposed to be getting stipends on the road, and sometimes wouldn't get that, and you'd have to have some of the veteran guys speak up and be like, "Hey, where's our food money? Like
Yeah, yeah,
$15 doesn't get you very far for 2 days."
yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah,
So, what would if a player wants to ask you about whether it be about Denmark, Australia, Canada, how would they best reach out to you?
you can find me on social media, or email me. Anything like that is fine.
Okay, so
Uh,
I'll have your name in the title of this interview and stuff, so people can reach out to you and ask you any questions. Because your hoop life, we want to be able to build a community. We want to be more
yeah,
like an Angie's List. If you have a general contractor that came in and did a great job, I want to refer that person to you to remodel my kitchen. But if he came and did my roof and it's leaking, then we have an issue, and I want you to know not to use this contractor. So I feel that with FIBA as a very small niche, I think there's about 8 to 9 thousand players worldwide playing. We have to be able to stick together and figure out what's the best situation because we are traveling basketball salesmen and our income is based off of how we put a ball in a hole
right.
internationally. So, well, Tanner, thank you very much for the interview. And any last words you have to say?
Oh, thank you, Bennett. I mean, it's nice to see you again after all these years.
Sounds good. All right.